for us to feel the vastness of love and connection, that even if you are somewhere physically by yourself, that we are not alone. And that's my hope for myself and for all of us.
Hey, this is Justin Michael Williams, and before you get started on watching this interview that I know you're excited to watch, I want to tell you that this interview series is a part of a special event that our community does that is totally free every year called Manifest New Year's Eve. Now, whether you're watching this close to the new year or not, listen carefully because I want to give you this context. Every year, at the end of the year, our community puts together this incredible event that helps you set your mission, vision, and goals for the year to come. And our theme is you don't get what you want in life. You get what you are. You get what you are. So it's about who you're becoming so that you can transform. And this interview that you're about to watch was a part of that special event. And the best part is it's free and you can watch it anytime you want. So if you go to this website, manifestnye.com, you can see the full replay of our 3-hour masterclass featuring all of these incredible special guests like Young Pueblo, Dr. Thema, Dan Siegel, Sarah King, Sienna Sherman, Vanessa In, and more. And our community coming together so that we can actually transform our lives. And you'll get a special Manifest workbook that will walk you through every single step of the process. And it's totally free. It's our gift to you because what we really believe is that no matter who you love, no matter how much money is in your bank account, no matter what your identity is, and no matter what color your skin is, we all deserve to live in the full abundance that is our birthright. And so it's a great honor to be on this journey with you and to present to you this interview from Manifest New Year's Eve. May you be well. Hey everybody, this is Justin Michael Williams, and I am so excited to bring you, one of my promises for this series for the start of the year was to bring you the voices that I thought were the most impactful from 2020 and the most important to be highlighting and making sure that we heard, not just in our minds and in our ears, but in our hearts in 2021 and beyond. And there is no one better that I could think than to bring you, I sent the email asking her to come with my fingers and toes crossed, okay? And so I got here on the line with me, Dr. Thema. Dr. Thema.
Yay!
So excited to have you here. And for those of you who don't know Dr. Thema, first of all, you need to get on her Instagram and on her Twitter, and your whole life will be changed every day, okay? And because the quotes are unbelievable, and I'll pull one up in just a moment that I love. And Dr. Thema is a minister, a licensed psychologist, and a sacred artist. And one of my favorite things that I hear you say, at the beginning of pretty much every single one of your podcast episodes is that your work takes you on a journey home to yourself.
Yes,
it.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, I appreciate you having me. And it is so important that we reconnect with ourselves. We have been wandering for many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good to come home.
Yep. And so, one of the things that I'm thinking about as we've talking about endings and beginnings and this ritual that we put ourselves through at this kind of random date that we've decided to put ourselves through it. Some of us do it on our birthdays too, or different moments. And I love this concept of coming home to yourself. And so in this process of ending and beginnings, it feels like there's this middle ground or in between ground of this kind of like coming home to yourself. And so when people hear that, it sounds nice, but what does that really mean?
Yeah. It is living authentically and really being aware of what you think, what you feel, what you need, what you want. Because with the busyness of life, even in a pandemic, especially in a pandemic, we can lose sight of ourselves. We can erase ourselves. We can assume that other people's thoughts are our thoughts. We can live a life that is in constant reaction to everything that is happening. So if I am just reacting, I'm not authentically living. It is just everything is in response to everyone else.
Yeah.
And so to come home is to have a sense of inner peace, a sense of clarity, a sense of groundedness in who I am. And
Mm,
that is healing.
that is healing. And, you know, when I hear you say the thing in the beginning, you know, one of the things that we're doing in the Manifest New Year's event, which for those of you who are watching this and are not on that, it's totally free. You can get access to it anytime. I'll put the link below. And we're doing visioning for that simple reason of, what do you actually want? But one of the things that I think is so important that you highlight in so much of your work, Dr. Thema, is when we're asking that question, what do you want? It's like, who is doing the choosing? Like, who is doing the wanting, you know, and what part of
Mhm.
ourselves? And so can you help us understand that a little bit more to how to get clear?
Yes, there are so many shoulds. We get messages from so many things around us that tell us what our ideal should be, and your ideal may come from, well, my mother always said, or my, my parents always said, or my religion said I have to, or my culture says I have to, or social media comparison says I have to post this or be this or do this. And so, we hear what everyone else is saying, and that we are bombarded with media, right? We are bombarded with these images from childhood. We have been force-fed an idea of what is beautiful. We've been
Yeah.
force-fed an idea of like who gets to be intelligent. We've gotten, force-fed this idea of what does success look like. And maybe it's not a fancy title, but you're living your dreams, And so for us to shed all of the shoulds and get to truth,
Yeah.
that is what homecoming is all about. Because in the eyes of the world, you might look successful. And we know we can curate an experience on social media that looks like success. But when I say homecoming, is at midnight, right? When nobody else is there, when nobody else sees what's going on the inside.
Yeah.
That's what home is.
And just to pin that for everybody, your podcast, the Homecoming podcast, just so everybody can.
Yes, absolutely. So I would love for you all to follow me on this journey, and I will be following you as a co-journey experience because I had to do my own homecoming. And so it's on YouTube and iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Homecoming with Dr. Thema. And
And
I would
it is
love for you to
amazing.
join us.
It is
Oh,
amazing, y'all. Just
thank
amazing. It
you.
like it
Thank
will get you together too, real quick. Like whoop. Like, and
ah,
and that leads me into your Twitter and your Instagram account that I think has really just in the last year for sure.
yes,
And
yes.
you've been doing this work obviously much more than just the last year, but I think the pointedness at which this comes, I think hits a lot of us. And to be honest with you, I think for like the Black and brown folks out here,
Yes.
right? It
Mhm.
hits us in a way that it's like, it reminds me of like my grandma telling me, like,
Mm.
Mister, you know what I mean? I'm just gonna say that word, like, you know what I mean? I had a few other words coming to mind, but
It missed.
pay attention, And so I want to put
Ah,
one up on the screen real quick that
uh-huh.
that you just posted pretty recently that I thought was beautiful. Is relationships are complicated. Forgive yourself for the times you stayed as the house burned down around you. Forgive yourself for the times your past caused you to run without giving the present a chance to grow. My gosh,
Mm,
and I
yeah.
know a lot of people in this new year are manifesting new relationships, they're changing their current relationship, all this kind of stuff. So unpack this a little bit for me.
Yes, yes. And it was so amazing with the post. A lot of people said, I'm number one, or I'm the second one, or they would say, I've done both. And I can say with honesty, I have done both.
Yeah, me too.
And so that first one is when we stay too long.
Yeah.
The times that you have been in circumstances, and and as I was writing it, I'm thinking about romantic relationships, but it can be friendships as well, when it's not good for you. And it says, as you staying, as the house burns down around you.
Yeah.
So what gets burned down? Your self-esteem, your hope, your trust, sometimes your sense of safety, whatever those things are deteriorating, and yet we're holding on. And there's no shame in that, right? When I say it, because there are a lot of reasons we hold on. One, we often get told that relationships are work, which they are, but are we jointly working, or is somebody working to sabotage you, to destroy you, to break your confidence and spirit so they can feel better about themselves, right? That is not what we want to endure. And so we often hold on thinking like, well, I just have to keep working at it. And I'll say, especially people who are successful, because you're like, I know how to get things done, right? So if I just put my mind to it, this is going to
We're going
work.
to figure this out.
Right?
I'm going to fix this.
I'm going to fix it. Well, the house just burning down, but I'm going to fix it. And, another reason why we stay in a burning house is um, feeling like I don't want to either give up on myself or give up on the person.
Yeah.
And, usually things are not bad every moment of the day. So that keeps people's hope alive of like, oh, maybe it's getting better. Like it's been, tears and screaming and crying, but today was a good day. And now like you're back in it. So thinking about forgiving yourself for the times that you wanted to believe, even when everything was showing you and telling you, get out of there. And so what I just like to say is, instead of just grieving the lost time, is to appreciate your present now, your present awareness, right?
Yeah.
It may have taken a while, but I have clarity and I'm going forward. And then the second category is when often because of past pain and past trauma and past difficulty, we're quick to run. And so, I do a lot of counseling with people who have been in bad relationships and now want a good one, but can be what we call hyper vigilant. So we're looking for a red flag, right? Because it's not going to happen again. So it's like, what'd you say? I'm out of here. I'm
Gone.
out of here.
Like so fast, you didn't even know what happened. Okay. Just out the door.
Right. It's like, wait, what went wrong? So we're walking around with our hearts guarded and we have our mental bags packed that at any moment we're ready to like shut it down. And so then sometimes we miss the opportunity to really get to know people because of that fear. And so forgiving ourselves, because some people then have regrets about like, maybe that could have been something good and I sabotaged it or messed it up. So we give ourselves grace, compassion, and awareness. So then we can go forward with balance. I don't want to stay in a house that is destroying me. And I don't want to run because of my fear from the past that is not really based in what's happening in the present.
Yeah. And so the middle ground that we want to find ourselves in, how do you define that then? How do we know when we're in that sweet spot? What does that look like?
Yeah. So the middle place is mutuality,
Mm.
reciprocity, two-sided relationships. Some of us are either in savior mode, where you're like, you think of dating partners as a project. I'm going to fix them, right? When I get through with them, they're going to be amazing.
A couple of years ago, that was my commitment to never do again. I had caught that in my shadow and I was like, listen,
yeah, stop
we
it.
did no more students. Okay.
More, right? Absolutely. Yeah. So we resign, we resign from being the teacher, the leader, the maker of other people. And then also surrendering the fantasy of the distressed person who will be rescued.
Yeah.
And that's when you have that idea of like, nothing in my life will be right until someone shows up to make it right. Right. And so I'm not doing any work on myself. I'm just waiting and hoping the right person will transform me. And so instead, I'm looking for, you understand relationships to be mutual care, mutual growth, mutual respect, a place in which I am honored and I honor the other person, where I pay attention to issues that are of a concern. I'm sorry, you hearing all that?
It's fine. Yeah.
Okay. I'm like,
Yeah.
my
It's not as
son.
loud as you think. Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, would you?
We all, but you know what's so funny is Zoom blocks it out, and we all got kids screaming in the background and stuff. So everybody's used to it now. Before the pandemic, people would have been like, "This is not acceptable." Now
Right.
people
It's
are like,
unacceptable.
"It's
Right. Yeah.
fine."
There's some kids back there. There's some kids back there doing something. Yeah. But yeah, so the mutuality and reciprocity, and then also the middle ground is vulnerability.
Yeah.
Right? Is that I'm gonna be honest and stick around to see who you are, so that I am not running from shadows.
Yes, this is so beautiful. And I think I love the thing that the compassion at which you very sweetly but fiercely
Mm.
like give it to us in these messages. It's the perfect dosage of words because I love what you started with this is forgive yourself.
Mhm.
Like that's what it is. It's not like a lot of times we see memes and quotes that are like,
Mhm.
you've been staying too long. You should have
Right.
left. You know what I mean? Like you blah, blah, blah. And it's just like,
Yes.
no, like hold that compassionate, sweet space.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. It's so important. And that's why, in the podcast, I often use the we, as the reminder of like, we are not like just divine teacher who gets it all right. And, you all are all fallible, messing it up. It's like, no, I get it. Right. I get it, not just from what I have read, but what I have lived. And so then, it being tender with ourselves.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. As I'm thinking about going into the new year and a lot of people creating these visions and wanting to step into a new dawn of their life. And given everything that has happened with 2020, I think a big thing, like one of the funny memes that I saw early in 2020 was like, all right, none of this shit was on my vision board. You know what I mean? Like,
None of
what?
it. None of
And so,
it.
and so but the interesting thing is it gives us a deeper way to look at manifesting and visioning in the new year. So given that, like how are we and how are you looking at it differently this year?
Yes. One of the things that has been highlighted for me this year is the not chasing and striving after things that are not fulfilling,
Mm,
that there has been a forced reordering of priorities of like what is really important and also what are the things I took for granted. There's some things we didn't put on the board that now you would, to be able to hug your loved ones, right? To be able to go and see people and, not have to think twice about giving them a hug or, talking to them in person. And so our vision for the future needs to shift based on the things we took for granted and also the things that we chased that are just not really important.
yeah.
And I think an important piece for me is not thinking about returning to the old way,
Yeah.
but what are the ways that this year has transformed me that I actually want to hold on to? One of the things for me is, before the pandemic, the weekends were like jam packed for me, going this place and that place and doing this and doing that. And then Sunday night, I'm exhausted and having to start the week all over again. And so with COVID and everything shut down, it's like the weekend has actually been restoration time, right? The weekend has actually been a weekend of stillness. So, when I wake up Monday morning, I actually feel like I've had breath and a break.
Yeah.
And so that is, something I want to be mindful of is not then just imagining how can I get back to 2019. It's like a part of that rhythm was dysfunctional, right? A
Yeah.
part of that rhythm, I don't want that anymore. And so integrating and creating a new vision based on the awakenings that came up for us this year.
That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. And that resonates so strong, is strongly in terms of thinking of, yeah, this year has been challenging for so many people. And like, what have you learned? Like, what do you want to keep from this? Because there's been some reorganization that I think for so many of us, like I know for those of us who we're traveling all over the place and doing this, and now I've had my ass in one place, for a whole year almost, which I can't even tell you the last time that happened. I'm
Right.
like, oh, this is what it feels like to just
Yes.
be home
Mm-hmm.
in myself and in my space and with my community and with the people who I'm the closest to, you
Right.
know? And also
Right. It's
recognizing
true.
how many of the relationships that we have are transactional.
Mm-hmm.
When this all happened, it's just like, wow.
Right.
Like,
Yes, yes, you get real clarity about yourself, about your peace, about friendships and relationships, about what matters. And so
yeah,
holding on to those insights as you're picturing, what you want the next year to look like.
yeah. You know, as we
And I
close,
would say,
yeah,
I'm sorry,
go ahead. No,
I'll just
please,
say this
please, you would
quickly.
say, go ahead.
Yeah. Uh, it also was a reminder for me about not waiting for green lights. Many times we wait for other people, like our future is in their hands. If someone says yes to this, or if someone gives me this opportunity, then I can make it happen. But especially, I think with Zoom and all this technology, like some of the dreams you were waiting for, you can manifest now. You can manifest it now. You can do your show now. You can write. You could, whatever it is you are dreaming up. You can do a manifestation of it in your present reality.
I love this. I love this so much. You know, as we close down, I just want to ask you what your wish is for the new year. Your wish for yourself, and even your wish for humanity and all of us.
Yes, I would say love and connection. That so many of us have felt isolation. And, I have kids who are doing the virtual online who, just miss their friends and can't wait to be able to go play with them. And then I know at my church, a lot of seniors who live by themselves.
Yeah.
And so for us to feel the vastness of love and connection, that even if you are somewhere physically by yourself, that we are not alone. And
Mm,
that's my hope for myself and for all of us.
that's beautiful. Dr. Thema, thank you so much for being
Oh,
with us today.
you are welcome.
Thank you. And thank you to all of you for listening and for allowing us into your hearts and into your minds. It's an honor and a privilege that we don't take for granted. And, my biggest hope is that listening to this interview leaves you in a space of more inspiration, more hope, more possibility, more love, more connection than you were feeling before. And that you can then spread that love and hope and connection out to everyone you touch. This is Justin Michael Williams signing out, and I'll see you right here in this special place the next time we meet. Bye for now.